So guys, welcome back to the channel, and I have the Moto G Stylus 5G. This is a phone, Moto G Stylus 5G 2024, let me specify that. This came out not too long ago under Metro by T-Mobile. This is a different version than the one that you see in Best Buy that has 256 gigs, so be aware of that. So it comes with 128 gigs, 8 gigs of RAM, you have a POLED screen, 5,000 mAh battery, 30 wired charging, 15 wireless charging. This does 60 frames a second for video recordings, and I'm going to show you all those specifications. But more importantly, this may shy some people away, but let me tell you, it still works very well. This has a Qualcomm SM6450 Snapdragon 6 Gen 1 processor. Now, the processor technically and on paper would be worse than the Moto Flip, but because this phone is optimized so well, I can't tell you the wonderful swiping and gaming experience I had with this. And I'm gonna show you in real time so you guys can actually see it. Just don't take my word for it. Actually watch me do it in real time. Watch me work. Anyway, let's get into this review and just talk about the fact that Motorola really did a good job on this phone. And I actually think that this is going to be a top prepaid phone for people that do purchase this, as long as it doesn't have any prolonged issues. So let's talk some quick specifications. The screen, it's a POLED screen. The max brightness is 1200 nits. You do have the option to switch between 60 to 120 hertz, but I leave mine on 120 hertz all the time. Let me just show you how to do that. You go to the settings right here, and if you scroll down to where it says display, where it says display refresh rate right here, just pull it up closer. You have the option between 60 hertz, 120 hertz, and also the smart option, which switches between 60 and 120, depending on the application that you use. But personally, I leave mine on 120, and I haven't had any issues with lag whatsoever. Just look at this. This is so buttery smooth. Even when you go over to the feed right now, everything just runs really fast. And this is one of the issues that I had with the Moto Flip previously, is that it lagged a lot. And surprisingly, a phone that has a 6th gen processor is running smoother than a phone that was originally $700, dropped down to $500. I don't know what Motorola did, but they really decided to take the time to make sure that this phone worked very well. So again, 1080p, 2400 pixels, 1080 by 2400 for people that are wondering. It's a 6.7 inch POLED display, and you do have 395 PPI density. Now, you do have the headphone jack at the bottom over here. You have the USB-C cable connection, which is capable of 30 watt charging and 15 watt, you guessed it, wireless charging. Yes, this bad boy has wireless charging for a whopping $259. And if you're a new Metro customer, you pay $29 for the phone, you pay $75 for the plan, and you're able to walk out the store after taxable activation fees for about 140 something bucks or so, and you have a brand new device. And this thing works well. Look at it, look at the body, it looks beautiful. You have the dual camera setup. I think this is vegan leather, I'm not too sure. Maybe they didn't decide to use it for this one, but it feels like a form of like cheaper leather, but it's nice. Now I will say that this is a, I'm not gonna say it's a scratch magnet, but it does get a lot of dirt on it. Like I had it in my pocket, I was scootering, doing different things, and I noticed like there was like dirt on the side. So you wanna just make sure you wipe down your phone when you're done, or just keep a decent case on it. I have a little cheap generic case on mine for the most part to make sure that this stays in tip-top condition. And you have your lock button right here. You have your volume rockers over here. If you flip this over, this is the SIM card slot. You have the option between a SIM card, you have the option between eSIM, and you have the option to add a SD card into this phone. Now, it is 128 gigs internally with 8 gigs of RAM. The regular edition, like if you buy a factory unlock, comes with 256 gigs internally, and the phone is $399. Still a decent price tag, but this is the 128 gigabyte version for Metro by T-Mobile. I'm not sure if T-Mobile is going to get it. Don't really care personally. All I can say is that this phone, with the screen, the sharpness, 1200 nit brightness, 395 PPI density, this thing runs well. And I know I'm getting a little excited about it. I'm trying to keep my biases down, because just using this has been such a wonderful experience. It just makes you think, what was Motorola doing all these years with them other terrible phones they were making? This is the one right here. It's really good. I can't stress that enough. But anyway, let's go on to the next section. So this is going to be a sample of the gaming experience that you're going to get on this Moto G stylus 2024. Just wanted to give you a quick sample. Now I am using a Jawbone controller, as you can see. So Call of Duty, believe it or not, has support for controllers. For years they didn't. But here it is right here. So far for me, it's been a really flawless experience. Like, I haven't had any lag so far for multiple games. I played Diablo Immortal, and I played, obviously, Call of Duty game, as you can see right here. Like I said, it's been a really great experience. This is actually comparable to the iPhone, if we're being honest here. Only to the gaming experience. It seems like every app that I've tried has been optimized very well, by the way.
Friendly airstrike incoming.
Oh, there was someone that ran past me. Okay, so you can see from here that the gaming fluidity is actually pretty good. I actually have the settings on high. It's the highest the graphics can go. And I have the frame rate on very high. So just to see how well this thing runs and if it's going to lag or stutter. So for the person out there that may be playing Call of Duty, you might be doing some of the more challenging matches. What I mean by that is, what is it, ranking matches. I haven't experienced any lag, any sliding lag. The only time that I did experience a little hiccup might have been because the network strength really wasn't that good where I was playing the game. But outside of that, this thing runs like a beaut so far. Let's give you like another minute of gameplay before I shut this down, so you can just, ooh, calm down, little buddy. Okay, so I guess that's enough recording right here. So anyone that purchases this device, just know that this is going to work just fine. Everything is so optimized so well, in my opinion, that I can't believe they did this. Motorola really did a great job at optimizing their phone for a bunch of games, just everyday swiping and whatnot. Man, listen, if I didn't have a better phone, oh, this takes a piece of lag right there, but it's okay. This guy's terrible. All right, all jokes aside, let me stop the video now. Now, I know some people are wondering how good the speaker works. Now, I do want to preface this by saying that I will have a second review for this phone when I get to do a little bit more tests. I had it for not that long, just like under a week. So I was able to kind of get to the nitty gritty to see how well it works and how well it doesn't work. But so far, the processor is holding out very well. Excuse me. So here's the speaker. I'm going to play it for you guys. You can hear how loud it gets. Nice speaker, isn't it? It's actually pretty loud. Now, I do want to preface this by saying that there is no edit settings whatsoever. Obviously, you can go to the settings and change sound profiles in practically any Android device. And some phones like this is power amp. And I showed you guys this previously in a different video. You have the options of changing the tremble, the bass, and things like that. For this particular app, as you can see, nothing was touched whatsoever, just to show you the authenticity that I'm not changing anything. I'm just leaving it as is outside the box. Actually, factory restored the phone originally to change all the settings and then just added my email and a couple things so that I can just show you how well the phone works. So if you click right here, I'm going to go ahead and do Fire and Ice this time. So you can just get an idea of the quality of music you would hear if you're listening out loud. Also, this works with podcasting and other things. Just to max the volume. Just skip forward a little bit to the voices. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me high and dry. Oh. So again, it sounds really good. I think the volume is pretty good for a phone of this caliber. Again, Regular price is $259 for Metro. New customer price is going to be $29 if you're bringing a new number over. It might be free for porting. I'm not too sure about that, but the point is, no matter how you get the phone, the quality is what matters to most people. Not everyone wants to buy a $1,000 iPhone. Not everyone wants to buy a $1,700 foldable. Don't think you have to go on that price tag to find something good. But all I can say is, because Motorola made this device so phenomenal, in my opinion, this is definitely going to be a contender for one of the best phones of 2024, in my opinion, for budgets. Outside of just a 1 year of software updates, which is a real bummer. You think they would do at least 3 years off updates, but it is what it is. You are going to receive updates over the years, but one major OS update to iOS 15, so just keep that in mind. But yes, the speakers sound very good. Again, I have nothing bad to say about that. The stylus pen has been upgraded. I'm going to show you how. So as soon as you pop it out, you have that function where it seems like it's more of a Note. Remember, I told you guys that the body looks like the Note 4. Actually, I'm probably saying that for the first time. The body right here looks like the Note 4. The little protruding camera, as you can see, I think it's really cool looking. And they have a feature, which, you know, GIF maker, GIF maker, handwriting calculator, freeform crop. I believe these were already here for the last stylus model, but live message is something that I don't recall seeing. So if you click in this, right, let me show you. Let's say you want to write something. I want to put this in red so it's easier to see. You can actually change how this is, right? And then you press play. And when you send a message to the person, whatever you draw, whether it's actually, let me do a different one. Let me show you guys a different one. Let me see here. So live message, let's say I just draw a heart, right? And just put the stuff in here. It gives you a certain, you see that yellow line up top? It gives you a certain amount of time for the video to play. You can just add whatever it is that you want to it, little ziggly lines, things like that. So when you press play, it's going to show exactly what I did. I was sending stuff to my wife just to be smart, little smart comments or smiley faces and things like that. This is a really cool feature. This used to be on the LG stylus devices, and since they don't exist anymore, I'm guessing that maybe Motorola got some patents or got some things where they're able to finally do this, because I was wondering why Motorola's couldn't do this exact feature. This is pretty cool. The pen is super, super responsive. Like, even if you decide to draw something, obviously it's not going to be better than an Apple Pencil or anything like that, or a Galaxy Tab pen or a Windows tablet. I'm not going to compare this to those things, but this does do a very good job where the pen is extremely accurate, almost to the touch. Like, it's insanely accurate and insanely good. I cannot stress that enough. So with that being said, for anyone that's interested in the stylus, I think this time around in this iteration, you're actually going to use the pen a lot more than you did previously, because it's a lot more responsive. It's responsive to the touch. There's a tempered glass on the screen, by the way, and it just goes to show how vivid and fluid the screen is. This is really good. I cannot stress that enough, even though I'm repeating myself. I'm just so excited that they finally made a phone that doesn't suck. So I took a couple still photos for you guys so you can get an idea of the quality of this camera right here. Now, like I said before, the camera works very, very well. In my opinion, the 50 megapixel camera honestly is phenomenal when it comes to outside photos. It doesn't really do the best in low light settings, so this is the reason why I'm giving you how it's going to look, especially if you're vlogging or just recording in general. You're outside, you just want to take a quick photo. It does a really good job of taking moving objects too. It's minimal blur at best. So like I said before, just, you know, temper your expectations. This isn't going to be Apple or Samsung quality, depending on if you're coming from a higher end device, but it's not bad for the asking price though. So just keep that in mind. So guys, this is how the camera is actually going to be. I have it on full HD, 60 frames right now. It's actually a pretty smooth experience for the most part. What I did notice that occasionally when I tried to start the camera up, it did freeze for a moment, so I had to kind of close it out and reopen the camera. But for whatever reason, I'm hoping that Motorola is going to take care of that issue with a software update, because so far the phone's experience has been very, very pleasant so far. But outside of that, one hiccup. So this right here is an example of how it's going to look in 4K. Now what I can say is that unfortunately it's not as smooth, because the 4K only does 30 frames per second, unfortunately. while the Full HD does 60 frames per second, which was the previous example of how the camera is. So in lighting settings like this, you're going to get some phenomenal pictures and videos, but I highly suggest keeping it on 10 Full HD 60 frames because it's just going to capture a better picture and use less memory. And you know, if it doesn't do 60 frames in 4K, I personally wouldn't use it, but teach their own. So there is one more feature I meant to show you guys, so I kind of just threw this in the video before it ended. You have the double tap feature where you can turn it off. You have a double tap feature where you can turn the phone on. You have to go into the settings and change that. You also have the fingerprint, which works almost simultaneously. It's a really good fingerprint. As a matter of fact, this does have like the on display thing. So if I go ahead and lift up the phone, you're going to see the fingerprint right here. You have the option of just unlocking it. In addition to that, it also has face unlock. And all I can say is Motorola really did a good job of improving their face unlock. Because it's an on-screen fingerprint, normally they have them on the lock button, but instead it's on the screen this time. And with a POLED screen of 120 hertz, it only makes sense because it's almost a flawless screen. I love it. The colors don't look washed out like previous models. It actually looks like they decided to use a decent screen in one of their phones because budget is the way to go. Yes, high-end phones are awesome, but most people want budget stuff that's cheap enough where they can afford it while still looking nice. And they nailed it 100% with this guy right here. So just wanted to kind of throw that part in. So the question is this phone actually worth the asking price? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Now, for the people that skipped to the last part, I talked about the processor. It doesn't slow down at all for me, whether I use Facebook, Instagram, if I'm playing Call of Duty, if I'm switching between applications like the camera, because a lot of times with Android devices, it slows down the processor when you're using the camera. This doesn't do that, it swipes out right away. It does a very good job of allowing me to use multiple applications and then switching between them without one crashing or too much RAM being used, because it does have a RAM booster, because it's 8 gigs of RAM regular and then a 4 gig RAM booster inside. So you're getting a very good, phenomenal performance. Remember, processors are important, but if everything's optimized properly, then you can have a cheaper phone without having to spend $1,000 for another phone. The camera's good, the wireless charging, it has fast charging. It doesn't take hours to charge anymore like previous Motorola devices. You are getting a big bang for your buck. Like, this can charge as fast as an iPhone. This can charge as fast as the better Galaxy devices. It's able to stay in its own class. You have wireless charging. For me, it didn't overheat when I was charging. It got a little bit warm for the wireless charging depending on the type of device that you use. But outside of that, I don't have anything bad to say about it. The stylus works well. The camera is okay. The speakerphone is great. It's a really good device. Now, the only thing I think that will probably rival this is the next OnePlus device that's going to be for Metro by T-Mobile in terms of price tag and features, but that hasn't come out yet and it wasn't announced, at least to my understanding. I'll check the store, see if they know anything. But yes, definitely get this. Get this over the Revel 7. Get this over the Revel 7 Pro. I played with those phones a little bit when I was inside the store, and when I saw the quality of it, I was just like, it's not bad, but it does not compare to the Motorola. This screen, it's good, man. It's good. But anyway, like and subscribe like always, guys, and I will see y'all in the next video.